Hello! Welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we are talking about One Piece, chapter 1048, titled 20 Years. And I'm Jason Hahn, as I said. I am a writer for ScreenRant.com. I like to write video game news, and I'm also a huge manga fan. I found a couple other Screen Rant writers who are also huge manga fans who happen to write a lot of great Screen Rant articles regarding a lot of your favorite mangas and comics. Definitely check that out. But I don't want to talk about this chapter by myself, so I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Ben, you want to go first, buddy?
Yeah, I'm Ben. I've been with Screen Rant for a couple months now, and I write articles about manga as well as DC and Marvel comics. And One Piece is my favorite manga of all time, so I'm very excited. Always excited to discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. Steven, how about you, man? Or no, sorry, Francesco.
Well, first of all, I'm Francesco. Actually, now that you make me think about it, I've been working for Square Run for almost 6 months now. So
Nice.
interesting. And yeah, also write about manga and Marvel. I love One Piece, but you just called me with the name of my worst enemy, Steve, against often on this podcast, and I like to kind of pull his leg on his love for questionable mangas like Black Clover or Sonic or whatever he's into. I mean, his hatred, sorry, for One Piece. So just yesterday I was making fun of him because they canceled Black Clover, right?
The anime, yeah.
The
Not manga.
manga too.
No, I think they just announced that it was getting into its final arc. So
That's
It's ending.
what Steve says, but they just canceled. Let's face the truth, huh?
yeah. Whenever Steven's around, we'll say, "Oh no, it's been canceled."
Yeah, exactly. So,
Well, to counteract Francesco's slander, I'm catching up on Black Clover, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 300 chapters in right now, and I'm enjoying it. But we're not here to talk about Black Clover. We're here to talk about Oda's One Piece. And you know what? I gotta say, for the first time in a long time, I didn't love this chapter. I mean, it definitely fit a lot of things that needed to happen. I feel like this is really, really wrapping up. I've been saying that for the past few weeks. I think this might be one of the last chapters, guys. But it just keeps on, like this one, we got a huge flashback and not one that we really needed or wanted. I mean, we may have needed it just to remind everybody of the perils that Wano has gone through, because it's going to make it so when it ends, it feels all that much more happy. But we know all this. I mean, especially anybody who has watched any of the anime, they drag it into the ground on how bad the people of Wano have it. And I didn't feel like we really learned anything new in these couple pages that they dedicated to going back to Odin's death and not the segregation, the pretty much the downfall of all the people of Wano and the transition of their land turning into the desolate wasteland that it now is. And then we get a couple pages of, finally Dendro shows up and delivers one of the coolest panels of Orochi's death we've seen so far. And I'm not great at counting, but I think that's the last Orochi life. I think at one point they said something about he had, I could be totally wrong on this number, but I thought it was 7, 8, or 9 heads. And that's how many times he's died so far. So... But what was some stuff that stuck out for you guys on this chapter?
I think for me the main thing was the flashback, and the flashback is actually one of the reasons why I really liked this chapter, even though we didn't learn anything new from it, because it's just devastating to see like that one panel of the person sort of collapsing in the desert as the plants are wilting. The sun is being clouded out by the smoke from the weapons factory. There's like a skull and a noose.
Yeah.
Heavily featured. Like, that's one of the darkest panels in One Piece so far, in my opinion.
Yeah.
and we already knew all this stuff, and we'd already seen, Odin die in that flashback, and we saw the people suffering in the present. So this didn't really do much to tell us anything new, but like on an emotional level, I think it really hit hard, and it really made the sort of wishes floating up at the end of the chapter.
Oh, yeah.
It made those hit a lot harder, and thus it will make Luffy's final takedown of Kaido, or I hope Luffy's final takedown of Kaido. It'll make that hopefully more cathartic.
Oh boy, I mean, with all this stuff, bringing the mood down, how much more of a downer would it be if none of this works and Kaido? It just feels like we've had so much lead up and set up for them to fail at this point. Like the whole raid failure theory, I think we've gone too far. But
yeah,
Oda likes to surprise us, but that would be a big surprise.
I really hope he defeats Kaido, because if he doesn't defeat Kaido here, I don't know what will. So
yeah, exactly. The next big bad showing up, hopefully not. But Francesco, what was some major bits of this chapter that really stood out for you?
Well, I agree with most of the things that you guys said, and I think that the main question here is that, as we said in our previous episodes, like it's like Wano is a whole different story from One Piece, right? It very much feels like its own thing. You could take the Straw Hats away from it, and it kind of would be, its own story. And all the way that this has been framed in the manga with references to, traditional kabuki theater and all these sort of things, it just feels like Oda really, really wants to make this a tale of it. It's a story he wanted to tell, okay, regardless of One Piece. So what these brief flashback that we are talking about, I agree that it's nothing new. It's nothing that we didn't know about. But on the other hand, it's also something that I think he needed to, just reinforce this idea that what's going on here is not about Luffy. It's not about pirates. It's about it's about these people who have been suffering for 20 years and they wanna, they just wanna get rid of Kaido. Mm-hmm. So the way I see it, as you said, it wasn't needed, but I mean, it was nothing new, but it was actually, it made sense.
Yeah.
And that's my major. I mean, that's my main takeaway from this chapter, and also the whole. I mean, it's that's what. Again, I really love this arc, and I think it's been very difficult for Oda to actually tell this story, while also at the same time. I mean, it's obvious that he cares about this much more than other stories, other arcs in the manga. That's my idea, at least.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, them doing the flashback, it's nothing new, and I didn't love that, but it's not I'm not meaning to necessarily say it's bad or bad storytelling or anything like that. Just for me personally, I just want all the new information One Piece can give me. And especially at this point of the series, it's like, okay, I'm just so excited for new information. And then they dedicate almost a third or a quarter of this chapter to things that especially anime watchers are well established. To kind of go to the...
We did get some interesting new stuff too, outside of the flashback. I mean, it's just amazing that Kaido had another trick up his sleeve at this point of the fight. and like he was hiding his best move. It was just unbelievable for me. I mean, I was like, wow, this is and it's great. And obviously, you guys have noticed about it, this new form is the same as King's final attack.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. It's just amazing, really.
Yeah, it's almost just demonstrating that, Kaido has possibly had to use this before, or at least King knows about it. And, that's a whole nother flashback that I think would be really cool, or for them to work into maybe the Rocks flashback when we eventually get it, if we get to see what happened on God Valley with Rocks and Roger and
he didn't have the
right,
fruit yet.
He didn't have the fruit yet, so we won't see that. But yeah, I kind of really like the parallel between he colored Kaido and Orochi in the same way, with them both being kind of on fire and stuff.
The fire symbology is big in this whole in this story. There is a lot of fire everywhere, and it's not random. Again, I think it's very symbolic, and it's just Oda telling a story
Yeah, I mean, just in this chapter alone, fire is used for both hope and despair, because the people of Wano's hope, they lit up these hot air balloons sort of with their wishes on them. So in that way, it represents hope rising. But at the same time, Kaido has unleashed this new form related to fire. And so it also represents a new level of his combat ability and another obstacle that we have to overcome.
Yeah, I almost wonder, and it's something that I meant to bring up last discussion, but it's something that Oda seems to. Yeah, I've been writing a Star Wars article. I apologize. It's one thing Oda seems to like to do when it comes to like a big bad takedown. Is Luffy is definitely an instrumental part of it, but there's several instances where like Luffy wouldn't have been able to do it without some sort of small intervention from the people that are in peril. And in this exact case, we have the lanterns floating up to the battlefield, and Momonosuke has been having a hard time creating the clouds. Well, I think it's almost perfectly lined up that these lanterns are going to almost help Momonosuke create a fuel to create his flame clouds to move Onigashima. And it's something that we've been watching these lanterns go up for almost a dozen chapters now, and we're still waiting on them to reach the castle or the floating island. But it's just the last hope of the people of Wano, the one time of the year they're able to do this sort of thing, and it's going to be used to help save everybody. Essentially, it would be too cool not to do, especially with us getting to see the messages on the clouds this time around. And I'm really hoping that next chapter something like that happens. And most of all, I'm hoping the next chapter doesn't end with the same two panels of Luffy staring down and Kaido looking up arrogantly. But I think it's a cool idea that, we're not going to get. I mean, we could still definitely get Luffy just punching Kaido in the face, but this whole chapter saying like, actually, I think I'm going to use this new Rio attack against you. That way, amazing. Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and it made me smile quite big when I first read that. And yeah, we're kind of getting almost like a Dragon Ball Z power struggle. And honestly, I love it. I mean, I feel like One Piece is absolutely at that point now. Kaido is legitimately the world's strongest creature. And so, it's very appropriate that we're getting to those types of levels of power struggles. And at the end, Kaido's closing his mouth. He's no longer trying to blast him with the flame breath. So I'm wondering if we're literally like a panel away from Kaido getting smashed in the face. And I'm excited.
I also enjoy the fact that Luffy's actually using something that he learned on Wano.
Yeah.
To land his final blow, because that's the technique that was that he learned when he was in Udon prison.
Yeah.
From Yogoro, the mafia guy, the Yakuza guy. So it was just really, really cool, I think. And again, it's there is like a bigger story being told here, and I'm loving it, really.
Yeah, it's almost, I mean, if Luffy just landed and, went up right to Kaido like he did, he wasn't strong enough to do it. But with everything and everybody he has met in Wano, this is going to be possible. Which again, like if they fail the raid, they're just spitting on all that setup. So there's still people I see on Twitter who believe that the raid will fail. It's just there's too much setup and at stake. Like what kind of story would One Piece be if they've implemented all of these characters and wills to help Luffy get to this point, and they fail? That's not happening. So anticipation is high.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as kind of going back to the flashback, one thing that I was kind of curious about was there was that moment where Orochi says, choose dominoes or Diamos, and looks like they go right for him. Are those the same samurai that were locked up with Yamato?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at least. Like Ringo especially is.
No, it's them.
Yeah, and did they straight out say that Ringo is not related to Zoro, or is that something I feel like they've asked?
No, we're still waiting for it. I mean,
we're still waiting. Okay.
There's a lot of theories, but that looks like it's definitely his ancestor there.
Yeah, we didn't draw them so similar without at least some sort of connection. So, but yeah,
especially given Zoro's now wielding Wano blades, and Zoro it's sort of like how Whole Cake Island deepened Sanji's backstory. Like people are thinking Wano's going to deepen Zoro's backstory, especially because we already learned about this sort of Wano swordsmith that lived in Zoro's village.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, we're several chapters. We're a couple chapters into Wano at this point, and we haven't gotten there. I don't know how much more time they have to flesh out a Zoro Wano backstory, but I wonder if that's almost something we'll cover after the battles are said and done. But what are you guys hoping happens next?
I'm hoping that Kaido sort of gets knocked out, and falls into the city just to sort of show the people there, like, Kaido's defeated. You're free now.
Yeah, especially as we just see the lantern saying, "I wish, please free us from this hell," and all that stuff. Yeah, I would love it if we got a lantern just saying, "Make Kaido go away," and then I think I said that last discussion. Like, we just see a lantern that says, "Make Kaido go away," or defeat.
Well, we did get that for Orochi, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and as soon as we see that, then Kaido flies past the lantern, which would be a great visual. I hope so.
One of the things that I said last week that didn't turn out to be exactly true were the cover stories.
Ah,
Remember
yes.
I said,
yes.
"Oh no, we're gonna get the the revelation that it was just Sanji's brothers. It's not Blackbeard. But actually, what we saw this week is more like Brule thinks that these infiltrators are Sanji's brothers, but it's not outright clear. I mean, we don't know if that's the case, so there is still a chance that things can go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know why they would say I think that this is the case rather than just showing it. If it wasn't, I think this just provides more fuel to the theory that it's actually Blackbeard's agents and not Germa.
Just buying time, just buying time until you can do this reveal at the same time as something big happening in the actual manga, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because I almost feel like if they revealed that major moves were happening on Whole Cake right now, it would probably distract from the climax of the Wano arc that I feel like Oda's trying to bring our attention to. But yeah, it's almost like how many more random characters can we find on Whole Cake to be like, oh, hey, what's going on over there? Like, I think we're going to keep on getting... maybe that's why we're not getting cover stories on some weeks, because Oda's just like, man, I can't think of who else to put on this cover. But yeah, it just seems... It's another one of those things where it just seems too perfect not to do it. So... but yeah, honestly, I'm not even sure who else could be on the island that would deliver, a good impact for a cover story, other than, it being related to Blackbeard. Because, I mean, what would even the world government want with Whole Cake? That's the only other faction I could think of showing up that they wouldn't be welcome.
The only other group that I could... I think would be crazy, but I don't think it's in their character, is if it's Shanks's crew. But I don't think that's going to happen. But we know so little about Shanks's crew, so it might. I think it makes more sense for Blackbeard, though.
True. Because, I mean, have we... it could be a mystery. Do we know if Shanks even has the goal to head to One Piece? Because he would need to get the poneglyphs as well. But we don't know if that's really their goal. Because just nothing has been revealed, really. But yeah, Shanks showing up, Shanks's crew. That would just provide. Yeah, that would definitely be a lot more questions than answers, which is something Oda likes to do.
Unless it's actually the government who is sort of trying to get rid of the emperors at the end of the story.
Two of them would be gone at the end of this arc, so...
Yeah, but he wants to get rid of their power base too,
Yeah, there's also the warlords, because that was one revelation that we had from the Reverie arc that got all the ticking time bombs going before this arc started, was that the government has disbanded the warlords, and they're actively hunting them down. So maybe that's another thing. Maybe it's a couple warlords who are looking for safety. But I couldn't imagine who else it would be other than Hawkeye. But yeah, I can't imagine why he would be there. But yeah, that's all just speculation. But yeah, as far as I'm hoping, same thing with Ben. I'm really hoping that Kaido gets a nice gum giant fist to the face, and I'm trying to scroll through the pages right now and see what the official translation calling it Bondrang gun.
It's from a Chinese thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was directly relating to the monkey god. Yeah.
A lot of the references, especially like in Luffy's and Kaido's fight, have been to sort of like Chinese mythology, Hindu mythology, things like that. So a lot of them go over our heads. But
yeah. Again, that's why the translation notes would be nice.
Yeah. It does sort of give this impression of like this is a battle of the gods, though, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
Even if the specific references don't quite hit for us in the West.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad that they didn't, change it. Like, it's one of those things as a kid watching Dragon Ball Z, you're like, yeah, special beam cannon, that's cool. And then you like hear the official translation of what it's supposed to be, and you're like, oh, well, that's actually kind of cooler. I'm not sure what I like more, but I'm glad that they didn't change it in One Piece. Like, they're still. Especially these translations. I'm reading the Viz translation, which support the artists you love. It's $2 a month on Viz.com and the Shonen Jump app. You get all of the new chapters, and you can even catch up on a lot of the most popular series. We're not being sponsored by them yet, hopefully, but I just a big fan of. The company and the stories that they've been able to spread around the world. So please support the guys that make that happen for us. But yeah, I it's definitely a battle of the gods at this point, and it again, I've said it in previous discussions. Just they're gonna have to top all this. Like, it's gonna have to be bigger and better for the next arc, and are the final arcs of this series. And I can't imagine how it's going to be bigger. I wonder. I had brought this up. I think we have a Twitter account, and I like to tweet about certain chapters and stuff. Check that out on Twitter, Manga Mondays, and imagine like a Luffy Gatling gun with this fist this size. That would just destroy. I mean, that could probably destroy a continent. Yeah, Wano. It would just destroy Wano. Again, I'm like going through some of these panels, and just the size of Luffy's fist compared to Kaido. The last chapter, it almost made it seem like the fist was multiple times bigger than Kaido. But then maybe he gets bigger with his new flame form. Because
Kaido does seem very, very big in that panel where it's revealed. Like, you can see for scale Luffy's hand grabbing Kaido.
Yeah,
it's like a little dot. It's.
I was actually admiring that, because if you look like where because I think we're looking at the same panel. It's pages 4 and 5. There's like a little Kaido head on the Kaido head, like the. So
is there?
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's almost like, if you remember the cover pages for Animorphs, where they like slowly turn into another creature. I almost wonder if that's Kaido growing. So that's how big his head was, that little Kaido head on his forehead, and he is literally growing to maybe 3-4 times as big. So it's kind of going into more of like, Kaido's pulling out all the stops, I hope. I'm really hoping that this is his awakening form, and he doesn't get hit really hard. He's like, all right, I guess I'll start taking this seriously, and then we get another 6 months of this fight.
I honestly feel like he doesn't even have an awakened form, or that like it's completely different for zone fruit users, or most zone fruit users.
Because so far we've only seen awakenings with paramecia fruits.
Yeah, although Luffy's fruit is his own fruit, but I think it's a special type. So
yeah, there's still so much mystery with, especially the different types of devil fruits and awakenings. But yeah, I mean, with Kaido being the strongest there is, I've just kind of always assumed he's already in his awakening. And I could be wrong, but I feel like Kaido's finally pulling out all the stops to match up with Luffy's island-sized attack that he's about to throw at him. Anything else about this chapter that you guys wanted to get off your chest?
Nope.
I just want to say, like, I understand why people might not have liked it as much, but I do think that this will enhance the greater story of Wano, and it will probably be a lot better on reread when it's not the chapter for the week,
Oh yeah. As I said earlier, I don't think it was a bad chapter. Like, it's still fantastic, storytelling and paneling, and it definitely moved things ahead a little bit. But But yeah, just at this point of being week to week, especially with breaks going on and stuff like that, you're just hungry for more substantial things because we've been spoiled the last few months with One Piece. So many big things have happened, excuse me, in a very short amount of time. So when they kind of take that breath to do something even bigger that's about to happen, you know, it just it feels that much longer after being a weekly reader. But still loving One Piece. Very excited for 1049. Yeah, we're almost at 1050. I feel like chapter 1, the celebrations for chapter 1000 felt like just weeks ago, but we're almost a year a year past that already. I mean, yeah, we had it animated, and I did finally check out that episode 1015, that animated chapter 1000, and that was a movie quality episode. Highly recommend it.
But then I've heard terrible things about the one after that.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
they
no.
put all the budget into 1015. You know, they don't have any more budget for 1016.
Yeah, they got to sell more toys first, or the card game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if that's about it, I think we'll wrap up this episode of Mega Manga Mondays for One Piece Chapter 1048. I am Jason Hahn, and highly recommend you check out ScreenRant.com for all of your comic news, movie news, and video game news. All of the types of things that entertainment things people care about. I'll also... I do a comedy YouTube channel called Honzy and Friends, where I play video games with friends and do some streaming, and should have some new videos coming up pretty soon. Finally got some good recording sessions in, and excited for that. But yeah, Francesco, anything you want to plug or recommend, buddy?
No, nothing new this week. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, no problem, man. And Ben.
Yeah, I actually do have something to plug now, which is exciting.
Very cool.
I started my own YouTube channel covering something a bit different from manga. It's called Yugioh from Zero, and it's basically looking at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game from its first formats, and just sort of
Nice.
the goal is to track it as it evolves, and so it's still in the very early stages, but I'm sort of excited to go down this rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, especially with the trading card games as well thought out and popular as Yu-Gi-Oh. Could you spell?
I wouldn't call it well thought out, but I will agree to the popular.
Oh, how do you spell that out?
Just YGO and then the word from and then the number 0. So.
All right, well, definitely check that out. I'll go ahead and throw that into the descriptions as well, so check that out. Yeah. Also, I was very excited to go onto YouTube today and discover that a fan project that some very, very talented animators have been working on, Naruto versus Ichigo, has, I think, finally released today. And I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I'm going to do that as soon as we wrap up here. But at least a 10-second clip they released the other day, the production on it looks better than a lot of anime episodes. And I definitely have my own thoughts on who would win in Ichigo versus Naruto. But yeah, definitely check that out. I'm about to... versus Ichigo. About to get the exact name so everyone can look it up. Seth the Programmer uploaded it a few days ago, and it looks fantastic. So do check that out as well. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Mega Manga Monday, One Piece 1048. We like to have new episodes come out every Monday. This is going to come out on a different day just because of some scheduling issues. But definitely check out other episodes where we cover series like My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dragon Ball Super, Boruto, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, thanks for checking us out. Find us on Twitter and reach out with any comments you have. And I hope you have a good one.
Yeah, see y'all next time.
See you next week.